This is Tammy with Impressors Extraordinaire, and I have a card for you today that I learned how to do from a girl online. Her company's name is HM Studio, and I believe I saw her first on Facebook, and then I went to look on YouTube for her video, and she was there. So it's HM Studio, and she had made a Happy New Year card, and my card is a takeoff of that, but I've done a birthday card. And I am using a variety bundle that's available right now, and it's available through January 4th. It's called the Quite Curvy Variety Bundle. And in that bundle, it includes 2 stamp sets. So you get the Quite Curvy stamp set that we'll be using today. Sorry, I didn't mean to rock your world there. We'll be using this today, and it comes with a set of dies, so I use those also. And here are the photopolymer stamps. And then the other stamp set that comes in this variety bundle is the Curvy Christmas stamp set. And that's got a lot of cute Christmas stamps. You can see the stamps there in their stamped form, and then there are all the cool Christmas stamps that you can get with it. And then also included in this variety bundle is a package of designer series paper called Classic Christmas. This is just one of the papers, but you can see here the different designs that you get, and they're all double-sided. And so you get all those sheets of paper, as well as the stamp sets and the die, for a very awesome price of $70.50. And that's at a 10% discount. And like I said, this variety bundle will no longer be available after January 4th. So if you're interested, be sure to order from my website, tammyrundle.stampinup.net. And I'm going to go ahead and get started now and show you the components of this card, and then we'll put it together. So the inside of the card is what's really cool. It has a pop-up feature. And so here's my birthday aspect of it. And here are those parts. So you're going to need the designer series paper, and I will give you all of the instructions on my blog at impressorsextraordinaire.blogspot.com, but you can jot them down now if you want to too. So the designer paper that I'm using, the Classic Christmas, I've chosen the shaded spruce color. So you'll have a piece of 4 by 1 1/4 and a piece of 4 by 4 1/4, both of the same design. And then you'll also have 3 more pieces, 1 1/4 by 4. This is 4 by 4 1/4 by 3 1/8, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. So all of those 3 need to be the same design. Well, they don't need to be, but that's the way I chose to do it. All right, let me set those aside, and we'll put those on in no time. And then you'll also need a scrap of the Sahara Sand, and you will stamp your leaves on that piece, and you'll stamp in shaded spruce. And then you'll also cut your little branches from that piece using the dies that are in that bundle. And then you'll have this piece of Sahara Sand that's 3 1/4 by 5 inches, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch along the top. You'll have a piece that's 4 by 4 1/4. You'll have a Whisper White 12 by 4 1/4, and that will be scored at 4 1/2, 6, and 7.5, and I'll show you why in just a bit. That's going to give you the pop-up mechanism. Here's your card base, which is Sahara Sand. It is 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it in half at 5.5. And then you'll need a piece of the thick Whisper White cardstock, and I just cut a piece of 8.5 by 11. Cut it right in half, and then I'll use it to stamp my birds and my sentiment for the front of my card. All right, let's go ahead and get started. With your Sahara Sand cardstock, the card base, go ahead and fold it on your score line, and then burnish the fold where you've scored it, just so that it closes nicely. And then take your piece here, the 3 1/4 by 5, and where you've scored at 1/2 inch, bend it down and burnish that score line. And this is going to, like I said, be part of the pop-up mechanism. And let me find my designer paper that's going to go in there. So this is going to go here, and I'm going to adhere it with the multi-purpose liquid glue. Did you guys have a great holiday? Mine was really different, as I'm sure everybody's was different than we normally do for the holidays, but it was really nice too. Some good food, and I just love Christmas. It's a time of renewal for me, so it was really cool to just kind of spend time with my family and rejoice in the goodness that we have. All right, so we've got it evenly placed on both sides, and then the bottom. Top, there's going to be a little bit more space, but that's okay because you don't want to encumber the fold with the designer paper, so it's okay that it's a little lower. And the next thing that you're going to do is put some more adhesive on this little flap, and open up your card base. Take your ruler because you want to center this piece exactly. So take your ruler and mark it 1/2 inch just below the fold, and then line this piece up at the score, or the tick, not the score, the tick mark, and then the score. You want to come just below your score because you don't want to cover up that fold with your cardstock. And then just make sure you've got it straight along that score, and then give some pressure there. So you end up with a piece that looks like this. And that's okay if that does that. It's not a big deal. It's not going to affect anything. All right. And then we can go ahead with our 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of designer paper, and using the liquid glue again. And like I've said before in my other videos, I really like this glue because it gives you a chance to reposition if you need to, whereas some of the other adhesives that you might use, it's pretty much you stick it and it's where it's going to stay. There are ways to get those things off, but it's a little bit more work. So for that reason, I really like the multi-purpose liquid glue. Call it the green lid glue too. So go ahead and layer that on there. And let's go ahead and set this aside then. And these other pieces also. And let's get started with our piece of Whisper White, the 12 by 12 that I've cut down to 4 1/4 by 12. And again, I've scored it at 4 1/2, 6 and 7 1/2. And what we want to do is bring in my cutter. And I'll show you how to cut this piece out of the middle. Let's see, I think I want my cutter to be, oh, sorry, didn't mean to rock your world. I want my cutter to be where you can see what I'm doing. And let's see if I can hit the zoom button and take this, zoom this in. Let's see, let's not zoom quite so much. Maybe I need to move some more things. Okay. Hopefully that's not shining too badly with that light. So bring your white cardstock up to where the 6-inch mark is, and then move it down to 6 1/16 on your cutter. So it's going to cut just slightly off of your 6-inch score. And you're going to then take your cutting blade and starting at the 1/2 inch mark, you're going to push it down to the 3 3/4 inch mark. So go slowly. And then open that up. There we go. There we go. So can you see where that's just slightly off, a 1/16 of an inch off from that mark, and then pull it back to the 5 15/16 inch mark and do the same thing with your blade. Put it on the 1/2 inch mark right here and take it down to the 3 3/4 inch mark. A little bit more. Should I attempt it? Yes, there we go. All right, and then, oh, look, that is not at the 3 3/4 inch mark. Let me move that back and take it a little bit further to the 3 3/4 inch mark, because I want it to be 1/2 inch in from each side. Well, that didn't work. Yeah, hang on. Let's do it like that. Now try it. Okay, that's right that time. Okay, then you're going to take your snips and you're going to cut this little area out. And that's where your pop-up piece is going to slide through. So it's going to go like can she do it? Yes, she can. Wow, that's like perfect. I don't know how I did that. Let me zoom this back out. Ooh. All right, and take that off zoom, and then move my cutter out of the way. And we'll continue with this mechanism. All right, so we've got it going through there like that, but we need to do a couple other things to make this whole thing work. All right, so go ahead and fold it where you've scored it. So on the 4 1/2, 6 and 7 1/2 inch marks, scores, whatever you want to call them, go ahead and fold those. and burnish them a bit. All right. So it's going to look like this. Or it could look like this. And then what you're going to do is, I'm going to move that again. Take your ruler and your pencil and this guy, my embossing stylus, and I need to find my mat, my piercing mat, because I want to use it. And then take your ruler and go 1 inch from the 7.5 inch mark and do a tick mark, a little tick mark on each side of that at 1 inch, and then do the same thing on the other end. And just make a small one. It doesn't have to be big. Eventually you're going to erase them so they don't show up in your project. And then you go in on the actual score of the 7.5 inch score mark. And you go down 1 inch from this side. And then same thing here. 1 inch from the end. And then you're going to, with your stylus, you're gonna make an impression there. And eventually you're gonna fold this down. And I use the small end of the stylus. And so basically you're forming a triangle there, and this is going to fold so that you have your pop-up mechanism. And so you do that on both sides where you've made your tick marks. And then come back in and using your, I'm actually using the adhesive remover as an eraser. And then do your best to get your pencil marks off of there. All right. And then I'm going to try to show you how to fold this so that you get an angle fold. Make sure your edges are lined up along here because you want it to be square. And then the same thing over here, just push that down. And make sure your edges are lined up on your card. And then you can kind of, you want these guys to be up at this point, so bend it backwards. Let's see, maybe if I turn it over like that, I can do it. It just works better if you have it all burnished and folded as much as you possibly can. Makes it very pliable. All right. Oh, that's not the way I want it. I want these guys to be up like this. Thank you. Okay, so you want these guys to be up. And you want this to be up like this, like a mountain. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Just kind of mess with it so that yours eventually ends up looking like this. Then you're going to take the card that you just did all the gluing with, And you're going to insert that pop-up piece through your slot that you made. And now you need to glue the Whisper White to the Sahara Sand, and you want to make the edges nice and even. So let's go do that. Take your liquid glue again and put glue everywhere on your Whisper White. And then bring it down to the edge of your cardstock, your card base, and just make sure that the ends line up. And again, using the Tombow liquid glue, it makes it a lot easier. You've got a lot more time to mess with when you do it that way. Come up here. Hello. Hello, Clippies. Anyway, get that all glued down. And you don't need to worry about that because it's going to be covered up with another cardstock. Then you turn this piece around and do the same thing. So put your glue on there. And line it up with the edge of your card base. And give it a press. And you're basically almost done. All right, then we're going to take some more designer paper and start gluing it to decorate with. This is going to go on that top where it's white. So it'll go right here, just centered on that top. And then on HM's card, she didn't have that covered, but I thought, I think it needs some designer paper, so I cut another piece in addition to what she had shown for her card. And this is, again, 4 by 1 1/4. And just stick that on there like that. And you can close it and kind of press on it to get it to do its thing. Now, the next thing we need to do is take this piece and this piece, and we need to cut them. And then we'll stamp on this piece. It's going to be the inside where I put my birthday sentiment on my card. So I need to cut it first, and I'll cut the little piece of designer paper too. And I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll stamp. All right, so take your ruler again and your pencil, and in from each edge, tick at 1 1/8. Same thing over here. And then do that along the side also. And then you can draw lines if you want. Somebody, y'all are probably better than this. You can probably just eyeball it, but I'm going to draw the lines just to cut on. All right, move those out of here and cut. And cut. And then you'll take your designer paper. You know what I want to do? Let's erase those tick marks, because I just don't want them on there. It's not very pretty. All right. But anyway, you take your designer paper and match it up on the edges here, as well as at the top. And cut those corners off also. Turn that around, be careful not to move it. All right. Then this little piece is going to go like this. So I'll glue that on there now. It's kind of funny back in the day, because I've been doing this for, well, I guess as a demonstrator for 15 years, and then I stamped for 3 years before I became a demonstrator. And I would buy designer paper and I would never use it because I didn't want to run out of it. It was crazy. I was a hoarder. Yep, I was definitely a hoarder. All right, so you're going to come in with your piece of Sahara Sand. And let's grab the shaded spruce ink. Try not to get my hand all inky. And I am going to put the sentiment, made with love just for you, right up in that little spot at the top. And the one thing I've learned about stamping is if you leave your stamp on the paper for a little bit, it gives the ink time to soak into your paper and you get a better, more even stamp. Then I'm going to take the actual birthday wish and put it on there. And you really want to do this before you put it on the rest of your card, because if you kind of doesn't turn out the way you want to, instead of having to remake the whole card, you can just remake this piece. So that's the method to my madness for that. Now I'm going to take this, again, glue it to the inside of my card. And then we'll decorate the rest of it. So just like this. All right, so we're here so far. Hey, get back up there. We're here so far. Now we need to add some other cool stuff. So I have already stamped my birds, and I've colored some birds, and I've stamped my sentiment. So I'm going to real quick head over and cut out my sentiment. Oh, by the way, that sentiment came from the bundle that has not only the So Sentimental stamp set, but it has the, oh, hello, has the Stitch So Sweetly dies in it. So those come together as a bundle, and that's in the annual catalog. So I'm using this die, if I can get it off the magnet. There we go. And I'm going to go quickly and cut out my sentiment. I'll be right back. All right, I'm just about done. I'm not sure if you guys are demonstrators or if you're customers, but if you're a demonstrator, you'll remember we had the Big Shot machine until last year, and then we no longer had it, and for a little bit we had no die cutting machine, but now they've come up with this so amazing. It's called, I think it's called the Cut and Emboss machine. It's not a very pretty name, but the machine itself, oh my goodness. It is so smooth, so quiet. It's a really nice machine. So that's what I'm using now. And so here's my sentiment that will go onto the front of my card. And I'm going to glue it again. You could pop this up with dimensionals. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. My choice for this video is to just use glue. All right, so that goes toward the upper part of the card, centered side to side. And then I'm gonna go ahead and close this up real quick. I have my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I am going to stamp some birds for you. And I wanted to show you, I've taken my birds from the Quite Curvy stamp set and I put them on a C block. And I've spaced them apart enough so that I can die cut them with the dies that come in this bundle. And I want to use the Memento ink because I want to use the Stampin' Blends, which are alcohol markers, to color with. And if I were to use a different kind of ink, the alcohol in the markers would dissolve that ink and it'd just be a muddy mess. So if you're using Stampin' Blends, you do need to use the Memento Tuxedo ink, black or whatever color you have that you want to outline with, because it holds up to the alcohol. It does not dissolve. And while I've got my birds mounted like this, I'm just going to make a bunch of them so that I can have them for other projects too. Thought I'd be kind of efficient in that way this time. And then I would take this piece and put my sentiment here, but since I've already done that, I will not do it again. But anyway, this piece of Whisper White is the thick cardstock, because I found that when you use your Stampin' Blends, it's best to use the thick white cardstock. It stands up best to the blends, and you get a really nice image that doesn't blur. All right, let me move this out of the way for a minute. And I'm going to come back in with the piece that I've already started and show you if you've never used the blends before. They're really cool and they're really easy. I'm using the Seaside Spray color for the bluebirds, and I'm just using the light. I'm putting that color down first, and you don't have to be real accurate with this. Nothing in nature, nothing in life is perfect. And so just Just color at will. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. I think that's one of the things that I really like doing Stampin' Up! For is because it's fun. It brings me peace. And with peace comes happiness for me. Why do you do Stampin' Up? Have you ever done Stampin' Up? Or is this the first time you've ever watched a video? If you've never done Stampin' Up! Before, I hope you come back and visit my YouTube channel. I've got other videos there, and you can comment while you're there. That'd be awesome. But anyway, see how fast this is going? So fast. And then I'm going to come back in with a So Saffron blends and do kind of the same thing. Do you guys have bluebirds in your area? We do. They're pretty amazing. All right, so with the light So Saffron, come in and do their breasts and faces. I hope everybody's been staying well during these trying times, and if you haven't stayed well, that you're recuperating okay. I say prayers all the time that everyone stays safe. It's kind of weird. Well, I guess we all have lived through pandemics with the H1N1 and all that, but it never really affected me like this one has affected me, nor most of the world, I think. So, God bless you, and prayerfully you stay healthier, get healthy again when this whole thing ends, and hopefully with the vaccines we'll get those pretty soon. Both my mom and my husband's mom have had COVID. They're in their upper 80s. Actually, my mother-in-law is 90. She turned 90 while she had COVID. That was not fun. But they're both recovering, thankfully. All right. So then what I would do is I would cut these out with my dies. And I would cut out the hello. Obviously, I don't need all those hellos, but I can cut those too if I need them. And the other thing that needs to happen is this piece that I stamped the leaves in shaded spruce is going to go on the top of the card. I don't reckon that you needed to watch me actually stamp that. So I'm going to glue that on there. For some visual interest. And then I've got a bunch of birds. And the birds' little branches that I've pre-colored and cut. And there's my hello that I'm going to go ahead and start adhering. And with the little branches that are in that same die set in Quite Curvy, I'm going to put just a dot of glue on each little leaf and just kind of give the birds a place to be. So what do you guys do for fun since we're kind of mostly quarantining? Sometimes we get to go out and go to the grocery store, and on occasion we've been able to go to a restaurant or two. Not very many though. All right, then we want some birds. So I'd like a bird here. And let's put a bird over here. I got hair in there that needs to come off my finger. So lay those down. And we're going to put some glue on the back where they'll stick to that piece. Hey, quit sticking to my finger. And then I will attempt to close this and stick those guys in there. So there they are. And then let's go ahead and put some more. How about down here? So one here, and how about one there? Oh, you can't see. Sorry if I've been stamping and gluing off screen. Sometimes that happens. You're probably yelling at me like, hey, hello, can't see what you're doing. Sorry about that, peoples. All right, get my birds there. They're like, oh, hello. So in that case, kind of get it off with your fingers as much as you can, and then use your adhesive remover. If you don't have one of these, you should get one. Stampin' Up! No longer sells them, but they do have them in just craft stores. And it needs to be part of your stash. And then I think I'm going to put some birds, a couple of them, up here. Kind of have them looking at each other. Hello, hello, hello. Stick, be a sticker. And then put my hello in there. Let's put it right in the middle. All right, I'm just about done. I want to add a bird down here, I think. So let's put some glue on him and put him down here just to kind of bring the whole card together. And I'm going to move these guys off, save those for another day. And I want to take some ribbon, and this ribbon is in a combo pack that's in the holiday catalog. It's in the Trimming the Town suite, which is on page 25 of the holiday catalog, and it's the All the Trimmings ribbon combo pack. And it is 2 rolls of ribbon. One is olive and one is real red. I think it's real red. Nope, it's Poppy Parade. And while it's still on the spool, go ahead and tie your bow. Fingers are a little bit sticky from the Tombow glue because I was a little messy. Crazy Tammy. All right. Got that. And then use your snips then to cut it off of your spool. I just think this is so pretty. The olive with the gold edge. And the Poppy Parade is also gold on the edge. So then take a glue dot, and look at my glue dots. My puppy got a hold of them. Luckily she didn't eat them. She tried. But anyway, they still work. So make that into a little ball. Put it on the back of your ribbon at the knot. And then I placed mine up here in this vicinity. And then I took some gilded gems and I stuck a bunch to the top, to the front. I just kind of randomly placed them. And I think I want one more. One more. Right here. Yeah, right there. What do you think? That's kind of cool. I could put some in here too if I wanted to, but I think for right now, I'll leave it like it is. I'm pretty satisfied. And that about does it for the card. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm very thankful that HM Studio put her card online. So you should go to YouTube and watch her video about her Happy New Year card. But it's really cool and it's really easy to make. So if you are interested in the products that I used, check back at my blog, Tammy Rundle. Oh, that's not my blog. My blog is Impressors Extraordinaire. That means Extraordinary Stampers. That's the name of my stamping group because they're all awesome. So impressorsextraordinaire.blogspot.com. And you can also go to my Stampin' Up website, tammyrundle.stampinup.net. And you can go to the store and order there. So if you have any questions, just shoot them to me on my blog or on my Stampin' Up website. And I'm very glad to be able to share this project with you, and I will see you next time.